Welcome to ValueVestDaily, where we deep dive into the best value and momentum investment opportunities. Today, we're connecting two worlds you might not expect: the absolute bleeding edge of artificial intelligence and an energy source that's making a powerful comeback. We're talking about AI's nuclear imperative.
So get this, by 2030, data centers are on track to eat up a massive 8 to 10% of all electricity in the US. And what's driving this incredible surge? You guessed it, AI's absolutely insatiable appetite for power. You know, this right here is the multi-trillion-dollar question that has tech giants and investors scrambling for an answer. So how exactly do you power a revolution of this scale? Let's break it down. To really get why the solution is so important, we first have to understand the sheer scale of the problem we're facing. Now, just to be clear, we're not talking about a small bump in energy use. This is a seismic shift. It's an unprecedented demand for power that has to be constant, and it has to be completely reliable. See, AI models can't just take a break. They have to train and run around the clock, 24/7, and that requires a whole new level of energy security. Okay, have a look at the capacity factor on this slide, because it's really the key to the whole thing. It tells you how often a power source is actually running at maximum output. Now, we all love renewables. They're a huge part of the solution, but they're intermittent, right? The sun sets, the wind dies down, but AI never sleeps. Nuclear, on the other hand, it's boasting a capacity factor of over 90%. It provides that constant, low-carbon baseload power that makes it, well, a pretty compelling choice. So how is this massive shift actually going to happen? Well, we're going to trace the entire journey of nuclear energy, from the mine all the way to the megawatt, and we'll look at the key companies that are making this whole thing possible. This slide basically lays out our roadmap. We're starting upstream, literally in the ground with the raw fuel. Then we'll move midstream to the incredible engineering that harnesses the power. And finally, we'll look downstream to see who delivers it and who the end users are, the tech giants themselves. All right, our journey kicks off right here, at the very beginning, with the raw material that fuels everything else: good old uranium. The main thing to understand about energy fuels, ticker UUU, is its incredible strategic advantage. They operate the White Mesa Mill, which is the only conventional uranium mill in the entire United States. I mean, talk about a moat. In a world that's getting more and more focused on domestic supply chains, that is a huge, huge deal. This unique position, plus those strong growth projections, really puts them at the foundation of this entire energy shift. Okay, so let's move to the next link in the chain and see how we turn that raw uranium into a highly specialized, advanced kind of fuel. Next up is Centrus Energy, ticker LEU. Now, these guys have a near monopoly on producing something called HALEU. You can think of it as the high-octane premium fuel for the next generation of smaller, more efficient reactors, exactly the kind that are perfect for powering data centers. And they're not just hoping for business. They have deals in place with giants like Google and a massive $3 billion 20-year backlog with the Department of Energy. That's a critical link in this chain. Okay, so now we have the fuel, but we need the engines to burn it in, the reactors themselves. And that brings us to an absolute industrial titan. Now, we are talking about a real heavyweight, GE Vernova, ticker GEV. They're the ones providing the engineering blueprints for this new wave of small modular reactors, or SMRs. Their BWRX 300 design is really interesting because it has what are called passive safety features. Basically, it's designed to shut down safely all by itself using natural forces like gravity, no power or people needed. That makes it inherently safer and a whole lot easier to get deployed. All right, our next company is completely laser-focused on creating what you could call the plug-and-play future of nuclear power. NuScale's position, ticker SMR, is so critical because of one major thing. They hold the first and only full U.S. regulatory certification for an SMR design. Getting that stamp of approval is a massive bureaucratic nightmare that they have already conquered, which gives them a serious head start. They're already running a pilot program with Amazon, and while they aren't pulling in commercial revenue just yet, that certification makes their technology incredibly valuable. And now for something completely different. A real moonshot. This is a company that wants to power the future of AI by recycling nuclear waste from the past. Oklo's approach, ticker OKLO, is a potential game changer. Their Aurora microreactor uses a fast fission design, which means it can get way more energy out of nuclear fuel.
So much, in fact, that it can run on what we currently think of as nuclear waste. They are trying to solve two huge problems at once, creating clean power and dealing with old nuclear waste. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward play, but that vision has already landed them a billion-dollar agreement with the data center company Switch. All right, finally, let's look at the company that brings this whole journey across the finish line, the ones actually operating the plants and delivering that clean, reliable power. And that brings us to Constellation Energy, ticker CEG. You can think of them as the final mile. They run the largest nuclear fleet in the whole country, providing a massive amount of stable baseload power. Their crucial role now is signing these huge, multi-decade deals called power purchase agreements to sell that clean energy directly to big tech companies like Microsoft and Meta. They're guaranteeing the power for data centers for years to come, and that's the kind of stable, predictable revenue that investors love to see. So after that whole trip through the supply chain, from the uranium mine all the way to the megawatt, what's the big picture here? What's the main takeaway? Well, here's the bottom line. The AI boom is setting off a second, much quieter boom in the energy sector. It's forcing a complete rethinking of how we power our digital future. And the companies we've just talked about, they are right at the epicenter of this massive shift. But as you can see here, the biggest question mark isn't the technology, and it's not the demand. It's the regulation. How quickly these new solutions can get approved and built is what will ultimately decide the pace of the entire AI revolution. And of course, just a quick reminder for everyone that this is for informational purposes only and is not financial advice. So we'll leave you with this final thought. For decades, we've measured progress by the power of a silicon chip. But as AI keeps growing exponentially, the real bottleneck for our future might not be silicon at all. It might be the fuel needed to power it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share ValueVestDaily for learning totally unbiased daily opportunities before you put your money to work. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Please leave a comment if you want us to deep dive into any specific two ticker symbols to compare. We'll see you next time.